Yo, what up? My name is Anohnymouss, and you are watching my interview with Inqalab. I would agree that the domination was surely from said hip hop, but the South has always been rapping. Like Yogi B and Nachatra released Vallavan in 2008, and they inspired not just Tamil Nadu, but like the entire South, like Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra. Everyone was rapping. Everyone, they shook the surface basically. I'm glad the significance is evident now, though, in with Malayalam becoming part of the mainstream. Considering Bad Bunny is number 5 in the world without rapping in English, like I really believe that it isn't language restricted, and the power of Malayalam and the power of music and its endless capability like ties in with the music itself. Goats Street Academics releasing 1D Function in 2012 will forever be the moment that I did get to this belief. Like, honest to God, OG Street Academics, true goats. The scene in Kerala hip hop has such a diverse pool of talent that you couldn't honestly put like a cap on the type of music to expect from a certain release. Like every release is a revelation, like to me at least. I'm from the Kottayam district of Kerala, and I'm a religious member of the Ketan gang, which is over like 20 plus artists of rappers, singers, dancers, producers, cinematographers, editors, everything and anything related to the music we've got. Like Kerala predominantly runs on these collectives, like the sort of union, helps with the support in music in general. Like even if your grandfather's like, stop the fucking music, you can just your homie's always got your back. He's gonna come to you and be like, "It's okay, bro. Here's the Jawan." Uh, and this is just one of the collectives. Like there's Culture Hood, Manishar, the Kalaman Collective, the Glitch Collective. There's all sorts of collectives. This is just a sum of the few. Like I bet there's like 5 or 6 that I'm not remembering at the moment, but these are just some of the collectives that like are spread across the entirety of the state. My vision for Kerala hip hop is right now for it to grow bigger, as big as it can, and then letting it become like a sort of a cultural movement that stays immortal. Like I wouldn't want this to die. This is a foundation that we've been setting for the past like 10 to 15 years, and like I want it to keep on that steady pace which it's at right now, and like hopefully stay a moment of stagnancy where it just doesn't die after. My process usually starts with the music, like the production, the composition. Whether it's my own production or whether it's the production of another collaborator, like the music is what drives me to write. I've recently started the practice of like not writing down. I just put on the headphones, open up the beat in FL, and then just record as I go. Keep the mic running and record as I go, and that has helped me come up with some cool stuff too. So that's just some of the processes that go in the way of making music. There's a shit ton of them. This is just one of the main ones. Recall value definitely goes a long way with the replayability of a track, but I wouldn't say it's the only factor that does so. Like my process is subjective with each release, but conciseness and comprehension, like how the track reaches the audience member, how they interpret it, whether they interpret in their own way or in the way that I intended to, the idea is to get them to understand. So those are also some of the factors that I definitely give importance to as well. All right, so Pradhaman is the full name of the desert, which we refer to as Payasam. It's a sweet desert. Like so, in order to make Pradhaman, you have to first take wheat, make it into a certain dough, and then boil it, and then cut it into like small squares, and then put it into a concoction of like jaggery and coconut milk. Okay, so that's how it's made. So like in the beginning of the hook, Stick talks about how his mom used to make him adas, which he then uses to like make the Pradhaman, and then like religiously going hard with the bars, but with like the sweetest tones. It was like the direct translation of Stick's line, where he goes, "Parishuddha Tananya, Pradhaman is sweet," where like that's where the title of the track is introduced. So the concept of something sweet at the end of a heavy meal is like the idea we took to showcase the sweetness of success that follows with like constant drive. All right. I made the beat for Pradhaman around 2 years ago when I released the beat tape on SoundCloud called Nuance. The beat that back then was called Nemesis. Like it was a simple beat. It was I had added some horns, some keys, like there was an 808 and like drums. That's about it. It wasn't even that long. It was probably like a minute and a half long. It was like a short, simple, cute beat that I was just trying to like sell. So Sticky hit me up around like a year ago after that. He was like trying to like purchase the beat, but then it never really came through. It never really went through with the final. You know how it is. So, but then fast forward 2023, K-Town Gang are announcing their second ever show in Kottayam called Arambam. Okay, and like on the show day, that's when I'm meeting Stick for the first time. Like after all our sets got done, in the after party sort of situation, Stick calls me up. He's like, bro, come here. I have like this verse that I wrote for Nemesis, and then like he rapped the verse to me, and I was like. I was like, this slaps, dude. Like, let's just get this recorded. And I told him to come to my house as soon as possible. And then he did a couple of days later, and we got the rough vocals recorded. So after I got the vocals is when I like really started like the nuances in the production. You know, adding multiple 808s. You know, working with the beat switch and like ending with like a double time drum and bass sort of outro, which I really enjoyed making. Might just be the genre I switched to after rap. So every single credit regarding the artwork or honestly like any of the content that we use for marketing and anything that came out of the visuals, I would happily give to Earpin, aka Ostarus Free on Instagram. Earpin like is a friend that I've known for like a couple of years. He's primarily like a filmmaker, and we had been in talks about working on something or the other for like a year or two at least. But Pradhaman was the sweet spot that we both converged at. Considering Pradhaman is mainly a dish served during Onam, like after a big Onasadi. So Onam is a harvest festival in Kerala, and what happens in Onam is that there's an Onasadhya, which is like a meal where like there's a lot of food items, and in the end there's payasam served. So like it's usually like 3-4 layers of tables and like a lot of people sitting and a lot of people like dedicatedly serving the food. So like it made sense to Yapan to suggest for us to dress up like the guys who serve the dishes during the Onasadhya. So from there, like the ideation took off, and like we headed to Perimbaur to Retro Sutram Studio. Shout out, shout out Sutra Kriya. And after like 3 hours and like some 800 photos taken, we had like the money shot at 750th shot. Uh, a lot of people think that the title was like a font, like a dedicated font or like hand drawn, but it was it was a very not so sober night of Vietnam, like sourcing the color from the Pradhaman glow and like stretching it entirely using the liquify tool in Photoshop. So yeah, Yeppan never ceases to amaze me. So I've actually talked about this very specifically in one of my songs that I dropped in 2021 called Moonu Varam, 3 Varam, produced by Rowan Daniel. Shout out Rowan Daniel. Where I go, people ask me every time കിട്ടുന്നു ഈ വാക്കുകൾ ചേർത്തിണക്കി എങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന റാപ്പുകൾ I say got a lot of things influence in my craft like William Malayalam Manorama Reggie Paniker cinema എന്നിവയൊക്കെ my sources. And there's one more line where I say, idols never the same. 1 minute I'm listening to Yeshu Das classic, the street academics, then back to Method Man. So yeah, I listen to a bunch of classical Malayalam Yeshudas, Kester, you know, which I feel like has helped me come up with some melodies and tones that I probably couldn't have. A lot of logic from back in the day. I would say he's one of my inspirations too, like one of the people that has led me to like the certain flow that I, hone. And I used to read the Malayalam Manorama, the newspaper Malayalam Manorama a lot when when I did my 4 years of schooling in Kerala, when I was back in Kottayam. So it probably helped me with the imagination. There was some weird ass stories on that newspaper. And yeah, I used to talk to my Vilima a lot. Vilima is my grandmom, who I live with. So she used to tell me all her experiences as an army wife and, what traveling across the country has taught her. So yeah, these are just some of the influences. Like I mentioned Renji Panikkar because more than an actor, he's also like he's a Malayalam actor, script director, everything. So like more than an actor though, he's written scripts for a bunch of movies like Bharat Chandran IPS and Praja. So Like he keeps me on check in case I'm not using enough verbal dexterity and like just remember that type of gangster lines. So yeah, shout out Ranji Panigar, I guess. All right, 2024. I'm gonna keep it simple. I think it's finally EP season. We got a lot of interesting collabs, lot of lot of cool ideations and processes that have led to the creation of these tracks. Like I've been begging myself to get these out for the past couple of years, but like I finally feel like I have reached that boiling point where I can slowly put it out. Yeah, and my music keeps going through like a lot of phases. So like all I'm gonna say is expect a roller coaster of a discography in the coming years. And that's about it. Shout out Inqalab. Thank you for having me. This has been Anohnymouss, and I shall see you soon in your sex playlists. Ashiri.